I just don't get why someone would play with our emotions like that. Who could be that evil? Hey guys, my name is Chris, and thanks for clicking on the episode of Side Flick. We got so much movie news to talk about. We're going to be discussing the success of the Sonic movie, our first look at Carnage, even some set footage on Venom 2, the validity of these Child Play sequel reboot news, that and so much more, guys. So you know the drill. The video doesn't get started until that like button turns blue, so I'll take a moment of silence now. Thank you. Let the video begin. But be sure you're also commenting on all these topics we have so far and your opinion on them. Alright, yes, we're gonna start with a bit of a Debbie Downer here, but it is important we get this out of the way. We had a lot of Chucky fans understandably so excited yesterday because they woke up to an article that looked like this, stating the Child's Play reboot sequel is moving forward. Heck, I even reading that headline had my heart sinking, had me going, little buddy's coming back, much deserved. You know, on this channel, I'm a fan of both. I like OG, but I also really like the new movie. Ain't no reason to pick a side when they're both very different characters and their films are pretty unique. And then I saw where this dreaded source was coming from, and my world shattered. Even if you're not a Child's Play fan and could care less about a sequel, it's still very important I spread this message out and about, and you yourself make it your duty to spread this around. In the movie news community, We Got This Covered is the worst possible source you can imagine for movie news to come out. You know when you're at the grocery store with your mom or your dad and they're ready to check out, they got chicken, they got broccoli in there, you manage to sneak in some Captain Crunch, I see you, I like that. Well, while they're checking out, you look at the magazines and you see People Magazine, Time Magazine, and then you see an article that's like, is Obama an alien? That's We Got This Covered for the movie news community. This website is completely funded by making up stories, playing with fans' emotions, and just predicting the logical next step in the movie universe, hoping they can be the ones to say that they got the scoop first, when really they were just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks. Like even in this Child's Play article, they state they have a source that is super reliable because they've given them tidbits on all these separate news stories. The method to their madness is all they do is they predict something that'll happen in Hollywood, like a Scream reboot. So they went ahead and did that, saying that it was going to happen with Blumhouse. They even said there was going to be an all-new cast, acting like they had so many details about it. And then when the news story actually happened, they go back, change their article to fit the correct information, and now use it as proof that they have credibility in the industry when they don't at all. This makes me so upset, man, because I really want a sequel to that Child's Play movie. I think there's a lot they could explore, especially now since they've already done the origin of Chucky, at least their new version of it. The sequel, endless possibilities that we've never seen done before. At least they would have to do that because legally they can't copy anything OG Chucky does in the sequels. I can't name any names, but when this article came out, I immediately contacted my source, who is closely related to the Child's Play reboot, and they were able to confirm with me that this story is fake, but to not lose hope because the studio is open to a sequel, so this could actually become a reality. But as of right now, guys, it's just not true. It's not happening right now. But if you're one of those people out there who really wants a Child's Play sequel, make your voice be heard. Heck, if one of you out there make a petition, heck, I'll go ahead and sign up for it, and I'll start promoting it on the channel. That way we can spread awareness and show Orion that this time fans will actually show up to the theater when they make a movie. But the lesson to be learned, don't ever trust We Got This Covered. Jumping now to only good positive news in the industry, Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. This weekend was a phenomenal weekend for the Sonic movie. It is the highest opening weekend for a video game film. This basically right here guarantees a sequel will happen. You don't have the #1 video game movie opening weekend and the studio just goes, forget about it. I'm so proud of this little blue boy and the fan community out there who went and supported this movie. It's hitting the trifecta that video game movies have just not done in the past, where fans are loving it, critics are liking it, it's making the money at the box office. We kind of had that with Detective Pikachu, but even with Detective Pikachu, they still have yet to fully announce a sequel is on its way. I'm really hoping with Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, they announce that sequel soon. I wanted to make a separate solo video on the things in the Sonic movie that they're hinting for the future. There's even some interviews with the writers of this movie who talk about what the future Sonic could look like. I just wasn't sure if it would be a big enough video, but if you guys in the comment section could let me know, would you watch that? Talking all the details we know about the Sonic sequel? I'll go ahead and make it happen. How do you feel about the success Sonic is having and their chances for a sequel? Talking now about a movie franchise that I was never a huge fan of, but I'd be willing to give this new movie a shot, Matrix 4. So if you didn't know, they are currently working on a fourth Matrix movie. They have Keanu Reeves back. They have Lawrence Fishburne returning. A lot of the original cast members are coming back for this fourth installment. The story behind this movie sounds so confusing, but could turn out to be very epic. From what's been leaking out so far about this Matrix 4 movie is that it is sort of a soft reboot, but also a continuation of everything that's happened. And the way they're going to explain this is that in Matrix 4, the Matrix movies 1 through 3 actually exist in the Matrix movies. Are you confused yet? Because I am. But that kind of makes sense. If you create a virtual reality for people to live in and you don't want them to get suspicious that they're living in a virtual reality, what do? You make a movie about living in a virtual reality so people think, that's just movie talk, it's not real. We've gotten some set photos, even some footage here of Keanu Reeves jumping off a building. I mean, looking at this right here, I know they're on bungee cords and they're really safe, but really think to yourself, you're jumping off a building and you're putting 100% of your life in faith to those bungee cords, and even then, man, you're left hanging there, staring down thousands of feet from the ground. Yo, Keanu's the frickin' man. I'm so happy that the Matrix is kind of going for these practical effects. You gotta remember, the first Matrix movie set a milestone in place for what visual effects were capable of everybody going ahead and doing this move right here. So it's nice to know they're trying to live up to their name, but I gotta be honest, that plot just sounds a little weird because it makes it sound like Keanu's gonna be basically Neo all over again, where he's living in the virtual world. Lawrence Fishburne comes up to him, offers him 2 pills, and is like, let's do this all over again the right way. What do you guys think about Matrix 4, these set videos, and the rumored plot for it? Jumping now into one of my favorite topics, Spider-Man talk. More specifically right now, Venom 2. So Venom 2 is still currently going on. It's being directed by Andy Serkis, and with the way Morbius is coming out, with having connections to Spider-Man, I'm so excited to the way Venom could turn out. And one of the things that has me most excited about Venom is the appearance of Carnage. Well, Tom Hardy himself took it to Instagram to give us our first look at what Woody Harrelson will look like as Carnage, and it is something to behold. This photo right here of Woody Harrelson as Carnage, I really don't know what to think. It is just a photo. It does not speak to his character, his personality, how this character is going to be portrayed in the movie. But I gotta be honest with you, I do not really like this look. It looks so wacky, weird. It looks like they kind of fixed the wig situation, but even the hairpiece Woody Harrelson has on him is not really doing it for me. Also, that Hawaiian shirt. Cletus Cassidy is supposed to be mentally deranged, so I guess his outfit speaks to that. I'm more concerned about what he's gonna look like once the symbiote takes over his body. One thing I do gotta admit with Venom, even though he didn't have the white spider on his chest, I thought the visual effects on Venom himself looked fantastic and what they were able to do with that. So I have no doubt that this horrible costume design will be covered up with the symbiote. Speaking of which, we also have footage here that surfaced online of them shooting. It looks like Cletus Cassidy is going to be escaping from prison and the cops are going after him. From this little footage that we see here, it looks like Cletus is already in possession of the symbiote. From those movement he makes and the police officer shooting at Cletus and him just not reacting to it, you know there's going to be special effects added where red goo is just popping out of his body protecting him. Some of the stuff in the first Venom that kind of brought it down a notch for me is the goofiness of it, like when you had Tom Hardy jumping into the lobster bin. Wasn't for me, but I guess some of the goofiness can be forgiven with Cletus Cassidy because, I mean, he's a mentally ill patient. I just want to see more deranged than a silly man, if that makes sense. Connecting that more into the Sony universe and what's coming up, we kind of have an answer now to how Spider-Man, the MCU, and the Sony Spider-Man universe is going to work. Marketing has already gone underway for the Morbius movie, and one of the things that went on is that there is a Flash Thompson burner account on Instagram. This is owned by Sony Pictures, and they use it like if it's actually Flash Thompson, and they do some viral marketing on there. And the first piece of material that started popping up was Flash Thompson putting this as his Instagram story. Article from the Daily Bugle, again taken apart. That's the Daily Bugle with the logo from the Sam Raimi universe. But you have some headlines here like A Vampire in New York City, obviously a reference in Morbius. More Where is Spider-Man, because we know he's missing because his identity's out there from the end of Far From Home. And just slightly cut off there, Killer Cast Cassidy on the run. With Flash Thompson's comments, you know, sometimes I miss when the world wasn't being destroyed by vampires, aliens, and flying robot people. From what is being said online now in the context of everything going on is that for Marvel to be able to keep Spider-Man in the MCU, use him in future movies, whether it be solo Spider-Man movies or team-up movies like an Avenger or him going with Doctor Strange or heck maybe even a Young Avengers movie, is that Sony is allowing them to use Spider-Man as much as they want as long as their Sony universe can reference the MCU. Because you gotta admit, you're kind of more inclined to go see Morbius, to go see Venom, because they have these slight MCU connections and they make you feel like they're part of a grander universe. I don't know how I feel about this because while I kind of like it, and as a Spider-Man fan, I like this universe that Sony's kind of setting up strategically, it really feels like that kid in a group project who doesn't do any work and then just signs his name at the end of the project. Sony really is playing a bad friend here, but if that's what it takes for us to keep Spider-Man in the MCU, I'm all up for it. It doesn't really mess up the universe. I can separate the fact that they're kind of in it, but then not really. I want to know your guys' opinion on the first look of Carnage, how this Sony MCU universe is working together. It really is just making everything confusing for me to explain it to my future child. But that's just all the movie news topics that interested me in the past couple of days. Be sure to let me know your opinions down below, guys. Also, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. As always, my name is Chris. Take care.